And you know who it is. Your boy Uncle D, Derek Diablo, Del Boy Diablo. Diablo TV, like, subscribe, do what you're supposed to do, champ. And do one about music, something that goes around a lot on the internet. And I'm not on Facebook and stuff chiming in. I already used all the going back to the message boards, old school. Talking about hardcore music, hardcore punk, current manifestations of it, evolutions of it, bang bang, the distinctions. And talking about this internet stuff, champ. Everybody knows that I'm OG of the scene of hardcore skinheads, everything like that, going back to the 80s, 87 to be precise, is when I got in the scene. I've been listening to the music since 1986. Bomb. So, thing about it is, the biggest thing I see on the internet, when you're talking about hardcore, I come back from the days, as I was saying, with skinheads.net message board, and hardcore, East Coast hardcore website message board. What else? You had the Bridge 9 message board, like pre-Facebook stuff, right? All that sort of thing. You feel me? Then had another couple boards out there, but basically it was all hardcore kids and skinheads and everything like that, talking about the scene, talking about music, promoting shows, bomb, and bantering, as we'd say in the British hooliganism scene. Talking shit about this, that, about each other or whatever. And then obviously there's a crew presence. For people who know what that is, hardcore crews. It's basically gangs that rule hardcore music and stuff like that. In the easy way to put it, in the light way to put it. So, I don't chime in on Facebook and stuff. I have a lot, and I used it to get where I'm at now, which is fighting for boxing titles in UK and hanging out with those boys and being around the football casual scene. Understand, this is what I'm into. Skinhead gang member, hardcore crew retirement program over there. Something like that for me. But the hardcore scene is still alive and kicking and spreading and evolving. And the biggest thing I see out there, biggest thing I see people talking about, making these posts, and there's troll posts, Turnstile and Knocked Loose. All right, so you young guys out there, chime in, get the argument. Whoa, hey. Okay. We got a amphibious reptile. I had this ascertain if it was venomous or not, but I'm all right. So, some of these posts are pretty funny, and the stuff I see the people talking about, and then it's an old versus young sort of old, age-old drama, as it were. That's one thing about it. And then there's other elements of the violence, and now they say this term beatdown. That I remember when people started saying it, but the original bands that I breakdown and stuff like that. But that's how genres work. You wouldn't call breakdown beatdown, but I see this written down like that. But I see what they mean by it. And the thing about genres is subjective, and sometimes people set out to be a genre and set out, we're going to make this kind of music. But then other times, Napalm Death, two different kind of musics spawn off of them. They consider themselves a hardcore punk band from England, but death metal because of the vocals, and in the grindcore. Both those two musics come off of Napalm Death, but they don't call themselves either one of those kinds of music. They're hardcore punk to them. It's like that. Venetian Snares don't call himself breakcore, but he's if not the main genius of breakcore. Sometimes it's like that. The Ramones, you see the interview, he said that we don't consider ourselves punk. They're talking about that they went there in these pub rock bands, Dr. Feelgood, so predecessors of Oi. They said they were playing this pub rock, and they heard it, and Malcolm McLaren, obviously, Sex Pistols, they create punk as a genre. The name came from New York, but you feel me? Ramones didn't consider themselves a punk rock band, they considered themselves a rock and roll band, but obviously they played into it, and they're part of that scene. So then, the question goes back. Now let's take it to as we're getting specific on genres now, and I already say it's subjective, right? Hardcore and hardcore punk. It's two different genres to me, and the problem with hardcore, as far as the name goes, as a genre, is that it's an adjective, and it meant something. It was synonymous with hardcore punk back then. So hardcore punk was one thing, but then the later, and the New York and the Boston, and that sound, you feel me? New York City hardcore the way it is, 1988. That changed everything. that compilation changed everything. And then New York hardcore where the wild things are. That exposed us to a lot of those bands. Neither one of those comps had Agnostic Front or cro-mags. And then a lot of people were already familiar with them, so it's bringing the metal and hardcore. It's different than hardcore punk. And then now going back to these bands, so the Turnstile, somebody from the ILF crew, from the Orlando boys, they had one of their lads had shown me the Turnstile in his song. In his car, he was jamming it out. You feel me? And they out there thugging, and we out there thugging and doing street stuff. So you know, and it sounded pretty good. He showed it to me. I'm like, oh, I heard about them. You know, but I seen it. I seen them some footage of them, and this is hardcore. And you know, their fashion choices and the way they appear, and a lot of kids in the hardcore scene now. I'll get into that in a moment. But the music, the tune he played to me was pretty good. On my own, I tried to go check it out when I seen Turnstile be mentioned so much and all these videos on all these messages and stuff. I tried to go check it out, and I couldn't get into it necessarily. Maybe I didn't find the right stuff. And then go on, this is Knocked Loose. Everybody talking about them so much and talking bad about them. I think it's why, because these bands are like winning Grammys and stuff like that. You know, cheers to them, fair play. Like, you hating on somebody because they're winning a Grammy? You feel me? But or are they commercializing the music? Or what do you mean? Music's already commercialized. Some people hear hardcore and they think it sounds like Limp Bizkit, because Limp Bizkit was influenced. But then that's another question. I see people talking about this. You know, did hardcore influence nu metal? Korn's album is older than that. Whatever. I'm not on that one. What I'm on about is Turnstile Knocked Loose, because that's the biggest conversation, and that's a point where the new and the old generations, everybody can kind of get together and give their opinion, as it were. And this Knocked Loose, it's pretty good. You know, it sounds like I will march to it, I'll dance to it, I'll listen to it. The Turnstile I couldn't get into. And then I seen their fashion and their style, and you know, it's not my thing. But the Knocked Loose, yeah, it's standard to me. There's loads of bands like that sound like that to me. They got perfect production and stuff like that. It's good. I don't mind it. I like it. I'll listen. I didn't go back and listen to it on my own again, but it's not that I wouldn't listen to it. And then like Turnstile, I wouldn't tell somebody, hey man, what's this? Turn it off. You know what I mean? And then it goes into hardcore and hardcore punk. Hardcore, once you get to hardcore, then the effeminate elements are out. In fact, girls are out altogether, basically, unless they're, you know, somebody's girlfriend or they kind of behave like us. To be honest with you, right? It's a male culture like that, no question. Moshing, you know, a lot of girls mosh though, but then the moshing gets softer. And is it about that? You're not taking people out. You know, the moshing I come from is more violent, but I can mosh any level. I can mosh softer, I got control. I can throw spin kicks in front of girls' faces this far away and not hit nobody, because I got control of my body. You feel me? But you talk about the way they dress and stuff. People gonna say they look gay. And maybe they are, I don't know. You know, but so what? They're not the only gay people in hardcore music. I don't care about that. Other people would have bum. You could have your own opinions, I suppose, in that. But the fact is, it's like a don't ask, don't tell in the military type of thing, isn't it? You know, because you messing up the pit if you doing certain things. You know what I mean? I go to a show, the pit is the show. There's a band there, but you have to watch the center of the pit. You got to watch what's going on. You get taken out. You know what I mean? Stuff's you know, there's blows flowing. There's guys out there, heavy cookies and dangerous guys, and you can get cooked quite easily and get injured and get taken out. And get knocked out, anything could happen to you, and it could be intentional. If you're looking that way and the rest of the people are paying attention to what's going on, you know. So the show's on the floor, and that's an example. You know, sometime we was in the Fort Lauderdale club, you know, that we had control over. We had beat up all the bouncers, and under my stewardship, under my leadership, we had beat up all the bouncers and taken over basically, and then boom, boom, we have the order. You know, we're in control. And anyway, so. There's an old man out there. I say old man. I'm about to turn 51. This guy's probably not as old as me, but he looked like an older man kind of deal. And he's probably drinking all day on Fort Lauderdale Beach. He got the cargo shorts and a button-down, damn near Hawaiian shirt with a billy and the sandals. And we're out there moshing. It was like, it's local hardcore bands. I'm not gonna say it was Brethren. Maybe it was Brethren way later after the fact. Like not in the peak of it, but I think it might have been Brethren, a highly hardcore band. So the thing about it is, basically, on a proper hardcore band, you got to know what you're doing. You got to be into it. You got to be in the scene. You got to be, you know, to get out there. It's like breakdancing. It's like b-boying. It's like capoeira. You feel me? This is a street dance, and it involves violence and violent people. And, you know, it doesn't always have to be completely violent, but that element is there. It's a street thing, baby. You know what I mean? This ain't a school, like high school activity. And the thing about it is, feel me? Then this son of a gun came out there, and basically he's just trying to have a good time, you know. But this is serious business. We're always gonna be prepared for Nazis to come. You feel me? So then, in the same way, football hooligans are organized for something violent that's known that something's gonna happen, a football match, and they're organizing for something violent to occur there between different sets of supporters, and they travel away for it, and you gotta be prepared for it. But it might not happen. It might just be a good time. That's how it is. That's how it was for us in the skinhead scene in America. You know what I mean? We travel to go to shows. The Nazis might be there. Different bands, they will be there. Or different crews, we fight each other too. You feel me? So now, one thing is that we have a particular style as hardcore. You feel me? And I identify with hardcore punk, oi, hardcore, individually and collectively. But when it comes to hardcore, and knowing what that means, and knowing what the history is, knowing what the bands mean, you feel me? And being somebody who could say those words, you know what I mean? It ain't about who's the toughest and who's the hardest and all this stuff. People could debate that on their own. Everybody gonna have pride in themselves, you feel me? And ain't nobody gonna backpedal or back down easy, you feel me? So then, when you represent like hardcore, proper like that, and you say a band like that, Brethren, that's highly hardcore, you feel me? And they got a name, and they got lads, and then there's always tension already between the Miami and the Fort Lauderdale and the West Palm, and then, you know, there's different styles of dancing, and there's histories of fighting between each other. So the thing about it is, to conclude that one, and I'll leave it out there for you, basically this dude gets out in the middle of our pit, and he just sees us playing this aggressive music. He doesn't know what it is. People hardcore, hey, you know, yeah, I like hardcore Metallica, you know, oh no, not quite, you know. So the son of a gun gets out there, and he starts, you know, gets basically in the middle of our pit. You know, this is the type of thing where people are taking, it's not set in stone, but people are taking turns in the middle, the top best dancers, let's say it like that, and going off. It's kind of like that. There's not so many people. It's not so packed. You know, there's definitely a circle, and people kind of taking turns, and then it blows up bigger. But so he sees that, he just kind of gets out there in the middle. He said, yeah, he's drinking a beer, he's having a good time. He's probably been out drinking all day on the beach. Yeah, he doesn't know the level of tension and the seriousness and the artistry of it and history. And he gets out there and he's in the middle. And, you know, people think they know what slam dancing is and moshing is from watching it on TV and MTV. And the thing is this: normally you get taken out. Normally somebody, you know, somebody else will dance, bling, and then you're gonna see what they do. And when you check them, bam, you catch them with a back fist or a kick in the face or punch. Nowadays they call this crowd killing, but that's like FSU style of dancing. I encountered that from FSU at my time with them. You know, they just run straight forward, punching everybody in the face, and they go all the way to the walls by the merchandise booth. I've had some funny situations with those guys doing that sort of thing. But to me, in South Florida style, you know, I always looked at the boundary, and you smash the edges of the boundary, and you clear the pit. You take out the pit. The top is getting in the center and annihilating everybody, or let's say holding your ground in the center. Not easy to do. And then you know, center and more back towards the stage is a good position to hold. But there's all these tactics and all this stuff that goes on. And this fella's up there. He's messing up our pit. Is what's happening. Just the same way if he got in the middle of a breakdancing battle and did that. You know what I mean? You're out of place. We're in control. You know, does somebody annihilate the guy with the back? Because everybody's just like this. That's not the bouncer's job. There's only one bouncer, you know, and his job is that if we jump somebody, we get into a fight, you throw the other people out. Otherwise, we'll destroy your whole club. What are you gonna have, 100 bouncers? Can't contain us. At least that's the way it was when I was young. Yeah, when I used to be in that lifestyle. But it still goes on. I'm just not involved in it. I go to the occasional show, but I don't participate in the crew lifestyle and doing. You know, it's still out there though for those that are interested, and I had a lot of good time with it. The best times of my life. You know what I mean? I still love it, but I just can't be out there living like that. So I had to do something, because sooner or later somebody will cook the guy. So I didn't know what better to do in the first instinct. He's there, and he's kind of got a low center. His center of gravity's all over the place, and he's a little bit taller than me, you know. So I went, got behind him, I German suplex him. I German suplex him, German release suplex. And the thing is this, if you keep it and really do it, you drop the person on their head and their neck. And with all that body weight and on the cement, that's a finishing move, champ. Let alone he's not expecting it. So that was never my intention. I have control of my body. I'm a pro wrestler, and I do obviously grappling. So a German release suplex looks real good. You throw the person, but I lay them flat on their back. You know, more like I suppose Brock Lesnar style. That's the way he uses it, right? As opposed to Crippler Chris Benoit style. So I German suplex matey, and he landed and rolled it out and stood up. And everybody's looking and everybody's laughing, bah, 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 bah. And he stood up. Now he realizes he's in a room full of people. Looks like, whoa, what just happened, right? And we're all laughing. You know, it was just funny. And then we went back to dance, and now we have the floor to ourselves again. Everybody went crazy. And then I guess he gets the picture. And then, you know, now he gets another beer, and to his credit, he didn't get scared. He came back, and he didn't get in the pit this time, you know, and then I was... He's like asking me if he's okay. Yeah, I said, you're all right, brother. And then sooner or later, he's drinking some beers, and he got out in the pit again. He didn't get in the middle when we were, you know. He got back in the pit, though. He earned his place in the pit, let's say like that. He didn't know what he's doing, but he's out there fucking having fun with us one way or another. But he learned his lesson not to get in the center of our cipher, as it were. Feel me? So then, that's the thing about these kids dressing like Turnstile and doing what they're doing at the show. It's not the movements, the jumping around or whatever, you know, but some of the stuff they're wearing, and then it's not like punk style or anything. It's like regular modern culture style or from some other stuff. Here's the thing about it. The end of the discussion is, for me at least, in the comments you tell me what you think. In hardcore, there are certain ethos and ethics, and it's a male style. There's no room for an effeminate male style. I didn't make this rule. I'm not saying it's a rule. Do whatever you want. I'm just observing the culture. You feel me? Hardcore punk says punk. And the OGs of it is a bunch of gay dudes. Or bisexual men. Jelly Biafra, Henry Rollins, Dead Kennedys, Mabuhay Gardens. I remember when I first seen the pictures of Dead Kennedy, I was like, you know, I had pictures, when I was in middle school, I'm 13 years old, I got pictures of Waddy Exploited and Sid Vicious and stuff. They look cool, they look tough, you know? I never knew that was Dead Kennedys with that picture with them with the dollar sign. I just seen it in a big compilation because they don't advertise themselves like that. Misfits look cool, Misfits look tough. Black Flag looked like, you know, imitation skinheads back then, so they had shaved heads, they looked tough. You know, so if we would have seen some of these original hardcore punk bands, Screamers, who I'm just getting into, I always heard their name. Check them out. Never put out an album, but Screamers. Influenced Dead Kennedys and Jelly Biafras so San Francisco and that. And, you know, Keith Morris and a lot of these dudes are gay and stuff, or bisexual, whatever. I don't care. Dave Dichter, I hung out with him. I played with him in the MDC. Great guy, and he used to be whatever, gay, talking about these guys shitting on each other's chests or whatever like that. But he had a wife when I knew him, you know, so people change and who cares? You can be whatever you want. But as far as this fashion choice and this effeminate behavior, I don't see a place for it in hardcore. And it's like emo. But the thing is, the emo was even harder than this. Emo was more edgy. Emo was more acceptable than this. And that's the thing, is it's about being accepted. You know, what about doing whatever you want? Punk started in drag queen clubs and stuff in the gay scene. And that's the distinction. Hardcore punk between hardcore. But how you going to tell somebody, for them, what hardcore punk is and what hardcore is? That's the difficulty. Lies in the eye of the beholder. Turnstile and knocked loose. What's your verdict?